Welcome back to us. Mr. Shadwick, Judge Shadwick, sorry.
Yes, sir.
There are certain macro issues, I mean, which elections are run, contested, I mean, held. Macro issues maybe in terms of health, like education, like any other. What do you think this time, what are the macro issues?
And the macro issues come into play on these elections because it's so hard for people to get to know all the judges that we find ourselves more influenced by these macro issues because of the straight party voting. People will vote straight party, Republican or Democrat, because they feel one way or the other about the macro issues. They don't like the president, or they don't like taxes, or they do like whatever it is the issue of the year. And so we're very subject to that, and so we're very concerned about those waves. It seems like this year that the races are going to be a referendum on the president. Now that seems strange, that how people like the president is going to decide whether or not I get to be a judge at the 55th District Court. But if you look at the election results in the first few days of the elections here, you'll see the vote in the Democrat areas has been a little bit down because I think they're not quite as happy with the president as they started out 2 years ago or 6 years ago. The Republican areas are a little bit higher because they're enthusiastic. They think they might be able to hang on to Harris County government and maybe make some advancements.
It's your viewpoint.
Yeah. Well, I happen to like that viewpoint, but I'm just observing that that's what it looks like so far the first few days of the election. I'm not sure if there's a specific other macro issue that's driving Harris County right now. And that's what makes down ballot judges like me a little bit nervous, because if this was based on my resume, I feel like I'd win, but if it's based on whatever else macro issue is going on, I have no idea what's going to happen.
Mr. Khan, how is the politics in, different, if I say, characteristics of the politics in Harris County? I mean, Republican and the Democrat, how they fight each other and how they rub the shoulder?
they rub the shoulder pretty good. But the thing is that, let me come back to judge things about the party, the votings. It's a fact to judges and good people in the bottom of the ticket is a very important thing. Yes, some issues can be important on health side or education side or LGBT issues, those issues there, but it can be a fact in the bottom line. And that's the reason I always say that, state party voting is only probably like 35 to 40% voting. And after that 10 to 15% is independent, soft voters, people like us, our community.
Individual liking, disliking.
Yeah, no, people like they're independent. They not
independent. Okay, right.
They don't do state voting.
Right.
Those are the people, those candidate judges or anybody they're running for the office. I urge them to outreach them, and that's the reason I invite these judges to come and outreach our people, because we are on this category for 10 or 15% category. That's we fit.
Right.
And we want them to outreach those people, and that's then I did this organization, Asian American Political Outreach Action Committee. It's a bipartisan, where I can be able to sit with both part of party.
You are a Democrat and these two are the Republicans.
Right. And the judges mostly really, I believe, they should be bipartisan.
Yes.
And
of course.
That's I'm working on it.
Yeah. And Mr. Shimodi, when you seek tickets from the party as a judge for any designation, for any election slot, and you get the ticket and you run the election, you succeed in winning, you win the seat, then you become a judge. How do you see, don't you think that there would be a party pressure or party influence on your functions at some stage?
Yeah, that's an excellent question, and that's actually been the subject of a lot of debate, actually, in the family district court races. It's very important that judges avoid any appearance of impropriety. There are certain decisions that can be made that may not necessarily be wrong in and of themselves, but appear to be wrong. And we have to be extremely careful as judicial candidates and as judges to avoid even the appearance of impropriety. So in the family court system, we have appointments of amicus attorneys and ad litem attorneys to represent children in custody cases, CPS cases, etc. And we need to be very careful in ensuring that those appointments are made based solely upon merit and on the best interest of children, and not through any payback politically. And I'm not saying that that goes on, but it's extremely important to make sure that we not only avoid that temptation, but also avoid even giving the appearance that that's going on.
This is your second, I think, this is second term.
Second term.
You are
My
running
second
for-
term, so I can answer this question as a sitting
Yeah,
judge.
you have the experience.
I've been on the bench 5 years. I have never once, even in a private social conversation where even a good friend pulls me over to the side, anyone ever even mentioned a case that was in front of me.
You don't remember.
I can tell you that there hasn't been, because I would have remembered. It would have been so unusual that somebody would have tried to influence a judge. And I've actually talked to other judges about this, because it's the sort of thing before you're a judge you think must go on, and after you're a judge you find out it doesn't go on, and it's sort of surprising. This doesn't happen.
Right.
I've never felt, seen, or heard the slightest political influence after I got
And
elected.
it is unethical too by the Texas Ethics Commissions. And Judge, since you have been doing such a great job, and that's the second time you're running, and you have a lot of endorsement, am I right, sir? Who else endorsed you?
Yes. Tell about something about the endorsement you got.
The nice one nice thing about running for office, especially when you're a judge, because it's so hard to get to know us, is that we get the opportunity to reach out to different communities and organizations who do endorsements. And so you had asked a question of John Schmoody a few moments ago, how people would decide. One way you might decide is that if there's a particular organization that you respect, you might ask, have they endorsed in their races? So in my particular case, I've received all the endorsements that I've sought.
Which one is the biggest one?
Well, they're pretty, there's a big variety. The Houston Chronicle has endorsed me.
Oh, good.
The Association of Women Attorneys has endorsed me, and I'm running against a woman. I'm sort of proud about that one. The Pasadena, Texas Bar Association, the Mexican American Bar Association has endorsed me. I was endorsed today by a liberal Democrat magazine called Tex Patriot.
Oh, yeah.
Endorsed me.
Do these kind of endorsement, Mr. Shimuri, really matter
Yes.
in winning the election?
They really do matter, absolutely. There's no question about that. They matter not...
They play a role.
They
Right.
play a role. They have a members. They tell their members to go out and vote for this our endorsed candidates. And
So basically, this is opinion making process. They are opinion makers.
That's correct.
They influence the opinion of the voters.
Right, and a lot of these, I'm sorry, Mr. Khan, a lot of these organizations, they influence hundreds, some of them influence thousands of voters. So whenever you land a major endorsement, like some of the groups that Judge Shadwick mentioned, I'm very proud to have received Family Lawyers for Good Judges, because I'm running for a family court. And as far as I know, it's the only political action committee in Harris County that's composed only of my peers, family lawyers. So I'm extremely proud of that, and it's a very influential organization among the bar in Harris County. So in answer to your question, yes, it's very important, not only during the primary, but also in the general election.
So have you received any endorsement from Houston Chronicle or anybody? Can you tell our viewers that who else you received endorsement?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. I've received the endorsement from a big law enforcement group, the Houston Metro Police Union. I'm very proud to have received that endorsement. I also received Pasadena Bar Association endorsement, which is also like the Family Lawyers for Good Judges. They're a group composed of my peers.
Are there any organizations who endorse everyone?
No.
No.
That would make their endorsement not very useful.
Useful.
Yeah.
you
There is,
you pay for that and you would get endorsement.
no, there's no
No?
money involved.
No. Okay.
In fact, there in the past have been people who, if you pay them, they will send out their endorsements, and they call those pay for play slates, and they've fallen into disrepute and bad times, and so those days are behind us, I think. The Houston Bar Association does not do endorsements, but they do a poll where they ask their members to rate judges as not qualified, qualified, or well qualified. It's called the qualification poll. So, for example, I won by a 4-to-1 rate over my opponent. There's also a preference poll that came out a few months ago that I won a little over 2-to-1.
Mr. Shimodi,
So the Bar Association webpage is also available
Right,
for people.
right. If your opponent is running for second term and he has completed first term successfully, but you are a new candidate, what do you think? He or she has a upper edge on you?
The advantage that he would have?
Advantage?
The advantage my opponent would have is he's been practicing law for, I believe, 37 years. The distinction I would make is not only, yes, I've been practicing
A voter
law.
like me can think that this is an experienced person and this is the
Absolutely.
new.
Well, absolutely. But what I would like to remind people is that we're running for a family court.
Right.
And the last time I looked on the Harris County District Clerk website, if you look at file date of any new petitions that my opponent as a practicing
will have
attorney
to
has
work
filed,
hard.
in family courts, there's only been 4 in the last 3
As
years.
compared to the,
In the last 3 years, I've handled nearly 60 new pleadings, and that's just Harris County. I practice extensively in Montgomery County and surrounding counties as well, so I am a family lawyer, and I think it's logical to elect a family lawyer to a family.
So it's the last moments. So if you can give any message to my audience, why people should vote you?
Well, thank you very much. Well, as a reminder, my name is Jeff Shadwick. I am the sitting judge of the 55th District Court. I've been the judge of that court for about 5 years, and before that I practiced law for just about 29 years, which makes me thoroughly experienced. There isn't anything that's come up in this court that I didn't handle myself time and time again over as an attorney, and so I'm fully prepared. I've also done something else that I want to make sure you know about. Before I got on the bench, I was a 2-term member of the Houston ISD School Board. Now, you might ask yourself what that has to do with practicing law, and it doesn't. What it has to do with is my interest in public service, my mindset of servicing the community, and my familiarity and my experience with dealing with people of all different kinds, all different backgrounds, and all different languages and customs and origin, to come to my court and seek justice. When anybody comes to my court, they will find a fair forum, a judge with intelligence and experience and an appropriate temperament to let anybody try their case in court and to receive a fair outcome. That's what I've been providing all of the years that I've been here. I've had a number of members of this particular community in my court, and so I urge people to inquire into your own community and see what sort of reputation I have, and you'll see that my reputation matches my goals for myself. I do urge you to look at my endorsements so that you can see who all supports me, especially the Houston Bar Association page, so that you can see what the other lawyers think about me and how they grade me. I thank you very much for this opportunity. This is one of the fun things about running for office. You've been an excellent host. I appreciate your participation, Chad. And I urge you all to vote on November 4th for Jeff Shadwick, Judge of the 55th District Court.
Thank you. Now, Mr. Shambudi.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hashmi. It's such an honor and a privilege to be here. And I humbly and sincerely ask for your vote for Judge of the 247th Family District Court. I believe I am uniquely qualified for this bench. Not only do I have extensive experience in the private sector as Vice President of a national bank and credit union consultant firm, But I also have quite a bit of litigation experience. I've handled hundreds of cases, primarily in family courts. 94% of my law practice is centered on family law. I've handled every area of family law you can imagine. Complex divorce cases, custody cases, paternity suits, child support, family violence cases, etc. You name it, I've done it. I also have a strong record of service. I taught 11th and 12th grade history and science here in Houston. I also spent a year up in rural South Dakota working with Native American families from the Lakota Sioux tribe who faced alcoholism, drug abuse, and really unthinkable poverty. These are some of the very issues that we deal with on a daily basis in our family courts. So having a judge that not only has the litigation experience in handling these issues, but someone who has real-world hands-on experience, I think, is directly relevant to electing an effective, efficient, and compassionate judge. So again, Mr. Hashmi, thank you very much for having me on. Mr. Khan, thank you so much for your participation here, and I humbly ask for your vote. John Schmoody for judge of the 247th Family District Court. Thank you.
So thank you all. And Mr. Khan, you?
I'd like to address to our audience and our community, please, I will urge you, doesn't matter what party you belong to, Democrat or Republican, I will ask you, please go out and exercise your right to vote. If you have any question, any concern, please go to harrisvotes.org, or you're more than welcome to call me. If you have any question, you cannot find your location where you should to vote, please call me. And I urge you again, please go and vote. Thank you.
Thank you all for being with us. Viewers, आपने प्रोग्राम सुना और आपने सुना कि कैंडिडेट्स क्या कह रहे थे. We have discussed a lot of things regarding Democrats and Republicans and election issues. और ये issues जो हैं ये discuss होते रहेंगे जब तक election ना हो. But you are a very vibrant community. As a vibrant community, this is your duty to come out for the voting. Do come out wherever you are. Come out from your safe havens and do vote for your favorite candidate. This is your duty. और इसके बगैर चारा का कोई नहीं है. See you next time. Until then, खुदा हाफिज़.